Good morning. We're back to a little bit more difficult lab this time, and it has more programming to it, and it has an array, and the array will allow us to program a set of instructions that program how this game Simon Says is to be played. So the object of this game is to see a pattern and then to replicate that pattern. So we're moving down through a matrix of a recipe, if you want to call it that, or a pattern. And that gets us to the idea of using of matrices. So incrementing through a matrix, going down through a matrix is the main objective of this lab. And also the use of seal circuits or memory circuits is very much a part of this lab as well. So we'll start to build this lab, and I've got it already started. I called it Simon, and we're here, and we're going to start by adding a new device, typical what we've done in the past. We're on version 20, and we're going to add a PLC. And we're going to add a 1215 C, DC, 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 PLC. Again, version 4.7 or 4.6. I'm using 4.4. So we add that. Okay. Now we're going to go back here and we're going to look at the first part of this is to not to start programming, but to build an array. In order to build an array, you have to build an OB, and then in that OB, we're going to build a matrix, and we're going to give it 15 locations. So in the data block, we're going to add an array called play matrix. Be right over here, and so under program blocks, I'm going to add a new block. And it's going to be a data block. We're going to call it, let's see what we call it. We just call it in a data block. Okay, this is, any name is fine, global data block, but anyway, block 1, I guess would be fine. Block 1, we're going to click on that, and then we're going to say okay. And then in that data block, we're going to create add an array, and we call it play matrix. So we're going to add an array. So we're going to add an array, and it's down here, array, and we're going to go we can go of bools, of bytes, of different things, but we're going to do of bytes because we have small numbers. They're between 1 and 4, or 1 and 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. So we're just going to, 8 is a small number. So we're just going to build an array of that, and then we're going to say it is 0 through 14. So we're going to put the number 14 there. So this gives us 15 spots, and we're going to give it a name. It's going to be called. The name is going to be play matrix. So. Okay, so we're going to call it play matrix, and that's our array. So there's 15 numbers, and they're in a row, and we can call them accordingly. So let's go back and let's look at the instructions, and you're going to see this information here, and then there's an indexer that we're going to use to index down through, and we're going to store numbers in that array. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, but we're going to store them in the individual bits, and we call it, this would be the number 1, number 2, the number 4, the number 8, or we can store them in binary as well. But I want to store them in as integer numbers. So we're going to do that, and we're going to we'll come back and we'll do that in just a few minutes. So basically, we want to come back here into main, and now we're going to start with the actual programming. And we're going to come down here and there's several new things in this lab, and some of them have to do with um, a button and a and a light, and the light is going to be layer 0, and the button is going to be an invisible button, and it will be on layer 1. So we're going to have to deal with layers. As far as putting one thing over another, we're going to have to use layers. So let's come down here, and we'll start with the network programming, and we'll start right here just to add our program. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so we've got on network 1, we've got a one shot. This is when we hit the button run, this is going to start. So we're going to say this is a bit logic, and it's going to be a P. So we're going to say, okay, this is going to be a positive logic. So now we're going to say the word run up here on top. And then down at the bottom, there's another bit that we have to use that is called run one shot. So that's what we're going to do. Now here is define tag. So it's going to be a global, and then on the bottom, same thing. It's going to be a global. All right, so now we're going to use a normally closed called bad, and then right click, define it, define tag, and it's going to be a global memory, define, and then master count, and that's going to be a number. This is going to be a less than. We're going to use a compare statement, which we've used before. A counter or a compare statement. Less than. And then that's going to be master count CV. Control variable. Okay. And then the bottom's going to be less than 15. Okay, and that's going to be a and a character is going to be a integer. This is going to be an int. So we're going to be, as long as we're less than 15, we're okay. All right, so now we're going to come over here and we're going to have a reset button. I'm going to close reset button. And we're going to run out of room if we don't move a little bit over. So we're going to move over here, and this is going to be a reset button. Okay, right click, define tag. Okay, remembering. And then if that's the case, we're going to be running. So we're here and we're going to say running. Okay, so we're going to, okay, running. Right click, define tag. Global memory, they're all global memories. Okay, now that's the first bit of logic. We'll come down here and we do this. We click on this. And then we say running. And then tie that to here. So it's a seal circuit. Then we come back down here. And we say running one shot. So we're going to do a running one shot. Running one. It's a new bit. We haven't defined this one yet. We did define the running already, but we haven't defined the running one shot, so we have to define it. Another bit, global memory. And then that says reset. Okay, so that gives us a reset signal. Okay, so this is a reset. This is an internal signal. This is not a push button. It's an internal signal that resets our program. So that's what we're going to do there. Okay. Now we're coming back down here, and we're now on to the next page. There's a lot of logic to this, so you have to be patient. There's a lot of logic involved here, so you have to be patient and type all of it out. There's 4 pages of logic. Okay, there's a lot. Total of 4 pages, and we just went through the first page, but it was a short page. So now we're on to the second page. Now let's go down here and drop down and 2 of those instead of 1. We only need 1. Now this is called play. If we're doing it in a play, and then this is a one shot. So you start typing P and see what you get. So the play button is really not a button. It's an internal bit that is set up at a later place, but it's an internal bit, and we define it here, but we set it up for later on. So here we go. Okay, so this is that we're playing the game now. We're actually playing the game. So we're now into the play part of it. So now we've got a drop down, and we say show. So we're doing the show part of it. Okay, so when we're in the play mode, we're going to be doing the show play. We're going to do the actual play part of it. So we're going to do the show. We're going to actually allow the person to be playing it. Okay, so now we bring this up to here, and now we keep on going. The nod is the reset. So the reset button is already defined. And then we also have move to show. So, okay, move to show. Okay, so this is a new button or new piece of logic for us. And we're also in the running. We're also running, and we're in the show part of it now. We're in the show part of what we're playing. We're going to be showing the game. I'll be doing the show play. Okay, so that's that. We're now we've now defined our game with the okay, so here we're in the play mode. We're playing, and we're now showing, which is a subset of what we're playing the game. Okay, so we're playing the game, but we're also in the part where we're showing the parts. So this is where we're going to be moving through the matrix using the show part of it. Okay, so this is now we're into the show part of it. I'm going to say show play. This is going to be a one shot off of that. We have to define each of these one shots separately. Okay, so we're going to define that as a global memory. And we're going to go down here and we're going to say, and we're also in the run mode. We're running. Okay, so we are in the running. And we are, and there's we're still in the show play until the trailing edge of the show part is when we go to the trailing edge of the show play. Okay, so this would be the trailing edge of the show play. When we're done with the show play, this would be that show play when we're done. Okay, and it drops. Okay, so trailing edge of the show. Okay, that would be that one down there. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Trailing edge. So this would be the trailing edge of that one shot. So let's go up there, define that. And a lot of this will make more sense as you see it being played. Okay, it will make more sense to you as it occurs. So this would be a move. This would be where you would set up the indexer to 0. So you're going to be moving. Use the same instruction used before with the move instruction. But now you're going to be moving a 0 into the word indexer. Okay, the indexer is the thing that moves you through the array. So that's the indexer. Now that's the defining one for that. So that's going to be a int. Okay. Now we come down and we click on another bit. So we come down again. We come down and we say running. Okay. And then we come over and we say, okay, so it's not show play. Not of show play, and then not of light move. Okay. This gives us a time, and we're going to put 2 seconds on these timers, so that gives us plenty of time to see the time before it moves. Okay, so you have to give it a little bit of time so it you can see that the actual I got this wrong here. This one should be rename this one. It's going to be a light move. It's going to be a let's just call it. Once you get these in, you got to come up here at the top, and I've got that in the variable called light move. I got to delete it. Now I can go back and I can say the this word light move Get rid of the pound sign, right click, define tag. Instead of local temp, we want it as a global memory. Now we can make it a global memory. Okay, you can't make it a global memory until you've gotten rid of that pound sign. Okay, so now you got a word here called timer, and we're going to call it light length. And going to be 2 seconds. Put in 2000 for 2 seconds. I'll come up with 2 seconds, and then we don't have to worry about the elapsed time. But the output we're going to say to a coil or a bit called light move. Which is light move right there. Okay, so now we've got that. And now light move is going to come down here, and it's going to set up a bit called light move. And then we're going to add one to indexer. So we're going to bump our indexer by 1 when we do that. I'm going to find the add block down here. Under math. So the add block is right under the calculate block. We're going to add one to indexer. So we're going to say indexer plus 1 feed it back into the word indexer. So we're going to bump it by 1. Okay, now we're down to another statement, and this is going to be master count control variable. So here we are. We're going to come down here. Master. All right. This is going to be greater than. Okay, so if use the greater than as signal. So if you use a greater than, let's find it up here, greater than. If indexer is greater than the master count CV. That's the control variable. Okay, the master count control variable. And if that's greater than, and we use the normally close button right here, and that's show play. Okay, the not of show play, and the normally open of running. And that gives us the word play. So then you go in from show, you go to play. So this is the bit that we use to describe where the people can actually play the game. Okay, play. This is the one that we were using before. We couldn't figure out where it came from. There it is, right there. Okay, now we're down to move, and we're now indexing through the array, and we're using the running. The running bit is very popular. It's used a lot. Make sure you're in the run mode before you do anything else. We're going to do a move. Move. And then we're going to say data block 1. And then we're going to say play matrix, and then we're going to say the word indexer inside here. So the word indexer. Okay, so that's that. We're going to now do that, and then we're going to move it to a byte called word byte. work byte. This is going to be a byte length one, so it's going to be global memory, but a byte. Okay, so that's that. We're going to come down here and we're going to come back to do this running again. And then contact, running. And not show play. Work byte. .x0. Now this is picking a bit in that word work byte. And I had typed it wrong, so it's going to be work byte. Okay, so work byte has to be typed exactly the way it was before, and I put an underscore in there, and then the other program it didn't, but that's okay. It works either way. Now then we come up here with light 0. Okay, and then there's a tie-in to that. That is a right click on that. Define tag. Low memory, define. And then come back here. And there is a contact called flash1.q. Okay, so we're not going to worry about that right now because it is a timer. We're going to come up here. We're going to join that. And then that's going to be that one. Okay, now we're going to keep doing this. So we do this 4 times. Let's go back. Running. Let's do a Control C, Control V, and then Control C, Control V. And I got this in the wrong spot, so it's going to go over here. And then I'm going to Control C, Control V, but this is not X0, it's X1 here. This is going to be, instead of light 0, it's going to be light 1. And we have to define light 1. I should retype. I should just retype it. So this is a coil, light 1. Okay, right click and define tag, and it's a global memory, define, and away we go. Okay, so that's that. Now we come back over here and we drop down, and now we have flash1.q, Control C, Control C, Control C, Control V, and you got it again. And now this time we drag it over here to the right spot, and now we've got the same thing for the second one. Come back over here, drop down again. As you can tell, this takes a while, so this is going to take us a little while to get all these done. So again, running, Control C, okay, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and change that to byte 2, and then a coil, light 2. Okay, this would be light 2, right click, define tag, and then global memory, define, okay, light 2, slash, Control C, Control V, and then tie this to there, and we're, again, okay, we're all set. And then we come down here and we do it again for light 3, and everybody's getting really tired of doing the same thing 4 times, but on the other hand, one of the best ways of turning on these lights, Control C, Control V works very well. In the output coil, okay, right click, define tag, and global memory. Come back over here, drop down, and then this is flash I.Q. Tie this over to here. And we're in. Okay, now we've got to, now we're through the second page. Now we're doing the checking, which is the third page. And this is interesting because now we're going to be doing the show, this part right here. And this is a long, if you want to call it that, but it takes, it's going to take us a little while to get it done, but we can do the same trick we just did, the copy paste, and we're taking the running bit, putting it down there. We're taking the show play, running TED, and then the show play, normally open. This time has an open, normally open switch. And now we start with this. Okay, so then we say button 0. That is a leading edge trigger. So a positive triggering edge. And that is but 0. But 0, I don't want a contact. I want a, I want a contact, but 0. Okay. Okay, and then it needs but 0 one shot. I'll define the button 0 first. Go up here and define tag. Full memory, define, and but 0 one shot. Right click. Okay, define tag. Okay, memory, global memory. All right, so that's that. Now we've got to now put work byte. Okay, so in the book I don't put the underscore there, but in the demo I did. So you have to be clever and figure that out. Okay, so that's that part of it there. Now this gets me over to a point, which I then have to go see what they do for an output. So now we're going to do a thing called an add. So this is going to be an add for, we bump our indexer. So now we're going to come back over here. We have to add 1 to our indexer. So this is a math instruction. Add 1 to my indexer. So my indexer, same thing I did before. Add indexer plus 1 goes back into my indexer. Okay, so now we go back into my indexer. So that gets us started. Now we got to keep doing this. This is a okay. So this first part here is dropping down. Okay, so we got button 0. Now we're going to drop down and then drop down again. Okay, so now and then drop down again. So we're going to drop down 3 times. Now we got 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is going to be button 1. Going to be button 2. It's going to be button 3. So now I'm going to go back up here and say button 1. Okay, enter. And it's going to be, I got to get rid of the quotes. Okay, this is going to be button 1, one shot. Okay, this is going to be button 2. Button 2, one shot. Going to be button 3. Button 3, one shot. Okay. Okay, then this has to be word byte 1. This has to be word byte 2. Okay, Control C, Control V. And this gets me but number 3. Can't have the whole thing. You gotta go. Okay, I gotta go back right here. And that's gotta be a 3. Okay, now I can bring these all back. Bring this back to here. Bring this back to here. Bring this back to here. And I'm in. Okay, so now I've got that part done. Now I've got to come down here and say if it didn't work. Now this would be if it happened good, and this would be otherwise. This is developing the bad side of this. So this would be the bad. So there's 1, and then I've got to come over here, button 0. Okay, so this would be a positive. This is okay. Button 0 dot, the same as it is up there. Button 0, but this would be button 0 dot bad. Okay. That would be the bad guy. Okay, so it's bad. Okay, so that's that one. Button 0, bad. And now we drop down. Okay. This would be work byte. We can just come up here and copy the other ones. See what I'm doing? Control C, Control V. Okay, so that, and then I bring these back. Bring this one to this one. this one to this one. I go to a coil out here called bad. Bad, bad, bad. Okay, whoops, wrong spot. There. That's where I want to put it. Bad. Okay. Bad, bad, bad. There he goes. Now I go back over here and drop down here. And now this would be button 1. Okay, so the same thing happens with button 1, happens with button 0. Control C, Control V. Now this is button 1. Okay, button 1. Now I have not. Okay, I hadn't defined it yet, so that's why it's coming up that. Okay, define it. Okay, I'll define it up here. Then it should come up down there. So define tag. Uh, okay. Okay, all these now, these are coming up. Now button 2, I do not want to call these internals. I want to call these okay, so I gotta get rid of this. I gotta get back and I gotta make these I gotta get rid of all this stuff right here. So all this temporaries stuff has to go. So delete, 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 delete. Okay. You want rid of the temporaries. You do not want to make them temporaries. You want to get rid of that, and you want to get all of that back so you can then go back here and say, okay, so this would be button 1, one shot, define tag, and then I should have done this right at the very beginning, so I wouldn't have to do this. Now, I don't want a one shot. I don't want that as a one shot. I want it as a memory, but I can't do it now because it's back. It will not define it as a, it will automatically come back the other way. So I got to go back. Here. Well, I got to go back and get rid of those. This is part of the problem of trying to cheat your way through and get it too fast. Button 2, I got to get rid of that to say button 2. Okay, now right click, define tag. Cannot be local, it's got to be global memory, so you define that as local. Okay, that's working. Now here, button 1, one shot. That's what it. Gotta get rid of that quote. Okay, now there's button 1, one shot. Button 2. One shot. Define tag. Cannot be local. Gotta be global. Button 3. Button 3, one shot. Okay, so there's that. Define tag. Local. Global. Define tag. Local. Global. Okay, now I can go through here and do it again. Okay, so that's that part. Now I can come down here and button 0, button 1. But now it's the other 3 that's now it's this one. It's the other three, so whatever the other three are. Okay, so there's that. What are the other three? Well, it's not 0. It's not. It could be, if it's 1, it's working. If it's 2, it's not working. Or drop down again, or 3. So if it's button 1, it's not 0, not 2, or not 3. So if it's one of those three, if you make a mistake, you pay the price. Okay, so now you're going to put this up there, put that to there, put this to here. So now you've made this one, and now you got to go back down here, and you got to do it again. So now you drop down here. It'll be button 2. Button 2, but not, maybe you made a mistake. So it'd be, okay, so 0, 1, or 3. Okay, so those are the three. If you push button 2, 0, 1, or 3 are the bad guys. So this would be bad. Or button 3. So this would be button 3. So this would go down here. And you are now into the button 3 stuff. And not 0. 1. Or not 2. Okay, so then we're down to this last little bit. So we start over down here. We start with another, start it from scratch. Now we start all the way from here. And we have an indexer. This is all we have left. So we have a greater than, an int greater than, greater, greater than, indexer, greater than, master count, CV, and then show play, and then count up, counter. Okay, this would be our master count. Master count. This would be reset A. Okay, and then define that tag. Of memory, define, and then 15 is our maximum number, 15. And then over here, we've got to look and see what we got over to right. Okay, so master count CV increments by 1. Over here, it says move to show. So we click on this, move to show. show. Okay. That's defined. Now we come back over here and we get takes to do reset A, reset. Okay, reset push button. Or reset push button. And do reset A, either one, just reset A. Oil. Okay, that's that. And then we come over here and master count. Drop down, master count. Done. QU is that's the output of the when it's done. Here, master. Okay, so that's don't do that. Okay, master count. Okay, so that's when it's done. And then there's a flashing. Okay, so we get rid of this. And we have flashing 2.q. Okay, so I'm going to just ignore this one for the time being. I'm going to put a TON in here. Call this flash 1. Make it 1 second. 1,000. 1 second. Okay. And then drop down here and make that flash 1Q. That Q. This will give us another timer, flash 2. Second, 1,000. Okay, 1,000. And then this would be flash 2. Q. Okay, so we're done. We'll take a little bit of a break here and we'll come back and see it a little bit later. Okay, we're picking back up and we're now into the HMI part of it. And so we have a problem in that there's two things that you need to put in the same space, and one is a button and one is a light. But the button is a invisible button that when you click in this area, it trips it and it turns it on. And that would be, and that causes an issue because the button is it has to be there, but you want to put it so that it's invisible. So you basically build 4 buttons and you make them in layer 1 and you make them invisible. And that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to go back in the program. We're going to create a screen like we've done before. And so device and networks. Okay, now we just have the PLC now. Now we're going to add another device. This is an HMI. We're doing a 10-inch screen like we've done before. And we're going to do the same thing we've done before, which is a basic panel, 10-inch screen, and the second one. And we'll click OK. So that's where we get started. Okay. Now, It's going to take a little bit of time, but now we have two things. We have a button and we have a light we're going to create. And you're going to see that in this next little part of it. So we're going to create 4 buttons and 4 lights. Got to be careful because they one is over the other. Now this is something that you're going to do here, and I don't think we have to do it in any of our other labs. But it's kind of a trick to have to put one thing over another, and that's what we're going to end up with. So again, screens, ready screen delete, like we did before. Okay, add a new screen. Set it up as the runtime screen. Back here and make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. Okay. Make the runtime screen our screen 1. We've done that. And also under screen management, templates, template 1, delete. Okay, delete. So now we are set up to start doing the screens. And now we're into screen 1. And we want to create four buttons. So we're going to take a button here. We're going to get a button. It's one of our buttons. And now we're going to make it and now we're going to say on the properties, button 1, I'm going to make it invisible. Okay, so we're going to say under properties, this is going to be button 1. Okay. It's going to be invisible. Okay. And we're going to make it in layer 1. Right? And then we're going to what? We're going to call it, give it it's going to be button 1. Okay. And then we're going to tie it to a button called event 1. It's going to be press set bit while key pressed. I'm going to tie it to but 1. PLC tags. We're going to tie it to PLC tags, and we're going to tie it to but 1. But we're going to tie it to but 0. Okay, so this is button 0. Okay, and that would be our first button. Okay, now I want to click Control C, Control V, and we're going to create another one. Do it again. Do it again. Now we've got 4 of them, but they're all going to be on levels layer 0. But this one's going to be called button 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this would be button. This would be button but 1. Okay, so it's got to find but 0, but 1. Okay, there's but 1. Okay, that's button 1. This is button 2. This would be button 3. So now we define our 4 buttons. Now let's define our 4 lights. Okay, so let's see our 4 lights. That would be what would our lights be called? They would be 4 lights are light 0, light 1, light 2, and light 3, and these are defined on layer 0. So let's go ahead and put them in. This would be one of them. So this would be our lights, and let's see how our lights are displayed. They are on okay, that's circles, and they are on layer they're on layer 0, I think. They're on layer 0, yeah. So they're under miscellaneous. So under miscellaneous, we want to say miscellaneous layer 0 under animation, display, and then appearance. Okay, so we want to display an animation. Okay, appearance. This is what we want. It takes a while sometimes to get there. So this would be under light 0. Light 0. Okay, light 0. And its address is there. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to say, okay, it's appearance under this down here. It takes a while to get all that stuff. It's 0. It's black. It's white, rather. If it's a 1, it's black. Okay, so this would be black. That would be the color if it's a 1. Okay, so now that's the first one. Okay, so that's click 1, click 2, click 3, click 4. So this would be this one, this would be this one, would be this one, that would be that one. So now we've got the physical buttons and we've got the physical. Okay, so that gets us kind of we need. Now I got to get this guy over a little bit. Okay, now I can put this in over this over right here. This one I can put over this one. When they line up, they should be okay like that. This one. When they line up, you see them lining up. Okay, now this one's that's lining up with that. Okay, now this one would be light 1. So the only thing I got to do here is change the. Nope, I got to get the. Look at the button. Circle 2. Properties, events, animation. Excuse me. This has to be appearance. This would be light 1. Okay, move that back. 2. Light 3, appearance. Under PLC tags. So now we've got all the lights. The only other thing to add is the start, which is a button called start or run. It's addressed to a bit called run. Press set bit while the key pressed, and the bit is the run bit. Run bit. Okay, the run bit. So that says that, and then reset is a reset push button. So reset. That is on the event set bit key pressed. It is on the reset push button. Reset push button. Okay, so now we compile. And we compile the, okay, before you do that, you have to tie the two devices together. So we have to do that first. Okay, so they are tied together from the point of view of the network, but we haven't tied them together from the network connection, so we have to do that. Get the dash lines. Now we can, under the PLC, we have not compiled the PLC program yet. Let's do that. Okay, compile, see if it works. There is an error, so it has to find, okay. Okay, so data block, okay, so it has to be compiled first, so you have to compile the data block first. So you have to compile it. Oh, and it's all got zeros in it, so let's compile it. Okay. All right, but we have to add the numbers into this. Let's put the start values in as 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1, 2, excuse me, 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1, 2, 4. Okay, now let's compile that again. And let's go back and compile main, see if it works. Okay, so everything works. Now I download the PLC. And I made a mistake. I should go back and check and make sure I've got my device configuration right. So I've got to do that. This is Ethernet IP address 3. Set of 1, 3. And let's go back and check the HMI address. It should be a 2. It is. So I can compile that again, make sure that that's compiled correctly. Hardware and software. Compile, but not to download. You do not download it. Okay, so no errors on the HMI side. Now let's go back and do the PLC side again. Main, compile. So after you make a change like an IP address, you should always compile again because you don't know if you have another mistake or not. So that it's always important to do is to compile to set everything together, and it also sets the certificate issue that they have now. So again, compile. You can't compile enough. So now we're going to download the PLC, PNIE, start search. And again, if it doesn't give you this show devices with the same address, show all devices, all compatible devices, that you might have to check that box from time to time. So now we're looking at 192.168.03, that device. Now it says cannot be modified. Okay, that's not a problem, I don't think. Let's see if we can load. Okay, see if we can load. And again, we get all these funny looking lights, but we can handle that. It says continue without synchronization. We do that. No action. We got to trip that, stop all. I'll hit load. Okay. Error downloading the device. Something is wrong. Error loading to the module PLC1. What's going on? Okay, so let's cancel and do it again. Okay, so it says there's not enough memory space on the device. So, all right, so let's do it again. Starting to download the device, PLC1, PLC1. There's not enough memory space on the CPU for this amount of data. Well, I don't think I created that much data, but let's just try it again, see what we got. So let's see what we can do here. Let's compile again. Let's go up here on the devices and networks. Right click, compile, hardware and software. Download, load. Please check the diagnostics buffer of the target hardware. Hmm. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go into online access. And this is one of the things that sometimes you have to do is to this guy. Update accessible device, see if it works. Go see this. And online and diagnostics, see if you can do that. And then under this, reset to factory settings, see if that works. Click on reset. Reset the module. Yep, let's do that. Let's see if that works. I don't know. Right now, I don't really know. But I want to download to the device again, see if I can download to it. Okay, it might not be a trustworthy device, but we're going to trust it anyway. Download. So it loaded. So that was a trick that you might want to use from time to time, but it now is online and we can click online and we can see it running. Okay, so it's now running. Something was wrong, but we fixed it. Okay. So it doesn't always work first time. That's a bottom line. Now it's not got the green goalpost on the light side. You look up here, you say start CPU. Let's see if you want to start it. See if you get the green goalpost. You did. Now that part of it's running, so that looks pretty good. Now let's go down here and see if our screen is going to work. So let's trip on our screen, see if it's going to work. And come up here and now click on Start Simulation. Start Simulation. See what we got. Okay, so now let's see if we can make this thing run. Okay, so now, 1248, so click Start, see what it does. It should take off and run. There you go. Now, I click on this, and then I'll go to the second one. See, it goes 1, 2. So I have to now do 1, 2. Now that it's done, you may have to wait a little bit between, click on that one, and then it might have to wait a little bit. Okay, you have to wait just a little bit. 1, 2. Maybe it bombed out because I'll click on this again. Now start. Click on reset. You got to be slow. Okay, there's the first one. Click on it. 1, 2. It is slow. 1, 2. Did it work? Maybe it didn't. Okay, it didn't work. Something's wrong. So anyway, back and check and see what's going on. Okay, so we got to go back and check our logic and see what's going on. See if we're pushing the right buttons. First of all, we want to verify that the buttons are working. So let's just look at the use a watch table, and then watch and force table. And let's watch button 0. Button 1. Button 2. Button 3. Okay, so now let's watch and see if they change when you push the button. Okay, so that works. So that's a good sign. Okay, now let's go back and let's see what is going on with the logic. Okay, so here, so there's start. Let's see if reset works. Okay, so something is messed up there. So what is that? So now I'm running. Okay, there's something wrong in the indexing. So it's something having to do with indexing. Now the indexing works when it's in the show mode, it looks like, but when it's in the play mode, there's something that's going wrong. So it's in the play mode. Okay, show play. So looking down here at the So now let's just reset. Go. Okay. Okay, so I push this button. Is an index. It did index. Now I'm ready for the second button, which is should come down here. And it's set for this one. So now it should trip that one. Should go to 2. Somehow it knocks me out. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, we're back. And this is after having checked a couple of things out, that there were a couple of typos in my PLC program. It's now working. So here we are, and we have a start, and there's the first light. So I click on that one. Now it's going to come back and then do the first 2 lights. So now I've got to click on this one, wait a little bit, click on this one. Now it's going to go to 3 lights. There's 3. Now there's my routine. So now it's go 1, 2, 3. Now it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to do that until it's all done, till you go 15 of them. So again, sometimes it takes a little bit more effort than it does other times, but basically it's running. The program is up and running, and it's right in the book, and it is now right on the video. But I had a couple typos in the video. What did we learn? If we learned anything in this, one problem was that we had to reset the memory of the program controller because it can act up. What else did we learn? Well, we've learned a lot about a setting of bits, and we're going to use that in when we do the Rubik's Cube. So setting of bits and using logic to do various things. Moving through an array is what we ended up using for the Rubik's Cube. So again, in the Rubik's Cube, there's 2 arrays. If you want to use that method of Lab 10 or Week 10, there's 2 arrays. There's the array that has the storage of the tiles, where the tiles are, and then there's another array that stores where the moves are, and that's all yet for you to design and put together. But a setting of bits, here I use seal circuits predominantly. This is not a seal circuit, but there are times when I do use seal circuits in this project, and other times I use here's a seal circuit. Do you see where it says show play? Other times I use a set and a reset. So set would be show play would be set. When I turn it off, it would be reset. So again, there's 2 different ways of setting a bit. One is the seal circuit approach, and the other one is a set reset circuit. So hopefully you got a little bit more from this. These are little nuggets of how to set up programming, but basically either one works and they are equal. So you have you can after this lab, we'll do one more lab with the stepper motor and then on to the Rubik's Cube. So take care and have a good day. Thank you for your time.